Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CBDC Forum. And this is the second CBDC Forum that we organized in 2020. And as in the last forum that we organized on September 8th, we have around 200 folks who registered for the event. And during the forum that we also announced we changed the CBDC working group to CBDC committee, and where that's the committee started working with the partners on several very exciting initiatives. And quickly that I just go through a little bit of the initiative, and then we can just jump into the first discussion. And for the CBDC forum, that we aim to be the bridge between the central banks and also innovators, and try to use this to just foster collaboration and dialogue. And our next one will be on November 17th, and it's already open for registration. And it will be a whole day event. And here on the website, and later I will just share the website, on the chat link, and you feel free to just check this out. And we have schedules and everything here. And then I also want to just share with you of some of the initiatives that Fintech4Good and the World Economic Council have launched in the past few years. In addition to the CBDC committee that we also launched the Sustainable Housing Task Force, and where that's through this work that we try to just use the blockchain and other emerging technology to make housing affordable, eco-friendly, smart, healthy, and safe. And this our main vehicle through this task force is the housing accelerator, and where we work with municipality and a development company to just scale up innovation. We launched the China Digital Finance Advisory Group last year, and this is a group of experts from China who is supporting the international process, especially with UN Secretary General Digital Financing for SDG Task Force. We provided a use case from China on how digital finance has been used in China, and which reflected, some of the insights reflected in the final report. And then we also launched the DeFi Alliance 2 years ago, and where we organized the DeFi Tech Talk, and also help the members to understand the different jurisdiction, and build a collaboration among folks from one country with another country, to make sure that DeFi not only benefit internal transaction, but also benefit the cross-border transaction. We also contributed to the many initiatives launched by other organizations, but we are a core member of those initiatives. This include, the UN Secretary General Digital Financing for SDG Task Force. We provided support, and also UN SCAP ESPN Digital Economy Task Force, and the Future of Sustainable Data Alliance, Fintech in China Show, the Global Fintech Index, Asia Pacific Institute for Digital Economy, and many other alliance and initiative that we are part of. And feel free to just go to the blockchainfrontier.org initiative, check them out. And of course that today is the DeFi, the CBDC talk, and we want to also share with you of our CBDC related initiative. One is the CBDC Awards, and we try to just use this to identify leadership, innovation, technology, and the best practice in CBDC. So the countries and also central banks understand where then they can find the right CBDC expertise and the technologies they can partner with. Then the CBDC expert roster, and where that will just host this roster and as a database where that again to help corporate and the central bank to just connect with experts from different countries. Later, Michelle, you can just share from the African side that you're working on, and one of the key barriers for CBDC to just advance in many developing countries is the capacity gap. So the expert roster and also the CBDC learning panel are all just to try to fill this gap. Where for the learning panel, that's we are developing this certification framework where that's we can use the certification framework to just provide CBDC training and then certify professionals who can just take on CBDC related tasks, especially in developing countries. We'll provide scholarship specific for developing country government officials and private sector. And lastly, the CBDC Tech Global Pitch, where that's we will just through the global pitch, we'll just highlight or feature the CBDC related tech and make them available for the central banks and other corporate partners. And as of now, for the academy, that we have 8 CBDC related course, and central bank digital currency, an introduction. We have the blockchain solution for CBDC and design principles, retail CBDC, CBDC for policymakers, CBDC for business, and also CBDC for sustainable development, and then the design thinking workshop. So as I said earlier, that we will make scholarship for developing countries, and hope our first delivery will be on November 17th. For November 17th, the half day will be the CBDC Forum and half day will be the training. And this will be the test delivery, and we welcome partners to just join us, no matter as expert or as the participants. And we for the first delivery, we'll just curate a group of 30 people. Half of them will come from developing country, half will from the developed country, and we'll test the delivery, and you're welcome to join us on this. And lastly, that I want to mention about the thought leadership of CBDC that we are preparing. And one is that we'll have we have launched the monthly newsletter, and which feature different pieces of CBDC development in different countries. And we'll also have a CBDC blog, where that's we'll highlight CBDC committee members research and also news where that's progress has been made. And you're welcome to just share with us of different pieces that you're working on, and of course that feel free to just subscribe of the newsletter, and you can just go to the site and subscribe. And without further ado, and I want to just again welcome everyone, and this is the second CBDC Forum we organized, and today that we have 3 sessions. And I just checked our registration link, and we have around 110 folk who registered for this. And after the forum, that's we'll just share the recording to whoever registered for the forum, and also we'll just add it later. And many of the recording will be shared as specific topic and the presentations as within our academy later to be shared with broader community. And without further ado, and I'd like to just introduce you to our 3 panels of today. And the first panel is on CBDC and DeFi, a global debate, and where that's we focus on really, the relationship or between CBDC and the DeFi. And we have amazing panelists who are here with us. And the second one that will focus on the latest development on CBDC and also the research which have been published and highlight those research what have been progress have been made. And the third panel, which will be on a different Zoom link, and whoever in the first two panels who are interested in the third one, and I will share the Zoom link of the third panel later in the chat box. And the third panel will start from 1:30 p.m. EST. So if you are in Asia, probably you are not able to join the third panel. And so yeah, without further ado, the third panel that will focus mainly on country case study. And without further ado, and I'd like to just introduce the first panel we have Izetzel, and who is working on or responsible for the CBDC work in Celo Foundation. And then we have Richard, and who is investor, long-term investor in blockchain-related projects, who have also contributing to many different thought leadership events globally. And our last meeting was when I was with Richard in Davos, where he contributed to many events there as well. And Michelle is also very active in UK and Africa, and mostly globally. And she has been instrumental in several governments blockchain-related work. Just recently, that she organized the CBDC Forum for Africa, and later she can share more. I think it's a really interesting coverage of both topic, and DeFi is interesting, it's new. CBDC is new, it's interesting. And here that, as an individual or as a company who receive financial service, without DeFi, without CBDC, and traditionally it's very easy that, if most of organization and the individual receiving financial service from banks or from financial institutions, and they have their traditional experience how to interact with financial institutions. And with the introduction of CBDC and also DeFi, what has been changed in terms of the clients or in terms of individuals who are receiving financial service? And what are the positive change, and what potentially will be the negative change that which they don't need to suffer from? And now that with all the introduction of new technology, what are the cost and benefits for individuals to just receiving financial service? Maybe we can start from Izetzel.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. I mean, I think you touched upon, obviously this idea of financial inclusion is one of the real benefits. So with these DeFi applications, one of the advantages is it gives people access to financial service products that they may not have had access to before. A lot of these DeFi products, you don't have to have a huge amount of money to invest in if it's a savings application. You don't have to borrow a huge amount of money if it's a lending application. And the idea is that, for the traditional banking system, they can't offer a lot of these products because it just doesn't make sense for them from a business model. But so a lot of people around the world then, as you had pointed out, are not banked. Or at least just don't have access to the traditional system. And so I think one of the great promises of DeFi is it gives anybody essentially, with a smartphone or with access to the blockchain, the ability then to have access to these DeFi products, and then have access so they can start to build credit, they can start to build savings, and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's from a financial inclusion perspective, it's very important.
Thank you. Yeah, and then Michelle.
Yes, absolutely. No, thanks for that. I think, for the user, one of the really exciting things, I guess, apart from the inclusivity, factor where you actually get access to the market, I think is also, goes beyond even to small, medium enterprises and businesses as well. So the opportunities for some of these businesses to access liquidity, I think is a really, really important element. And one of the challenges that you face in some countries is that a lot of these businesses, especially the small scale type entrepreneurs, for example, or SMEs or women-led businesses, really struggle to access finance, and generally around the world, I think women-led businesses are struggling to access any sort of capital. So I think when you're starting to decentralize, sort of offering around investments, then we're starting to provide that inclusivity, but you're also broadening access to what I would call maybe, more stronger capital markets within countries. So very, very important, I think, that we are starting to decentralize the access, but we're also starting to offer new financing products. So we're diversifying a little bit of the funding markets as well, which is really, really exciting. And then by having platforms, even when you look at simple sort of crowdfunding platforms, for example, those mean so much in certain countries because you're providing an alternative source of financing. I think the fact that we're starting to open up the market in terms of finance, especially capital markets and building liquidity, I think is one really justifiable argument. And if that liquidity can be backed by a central bank somehow, then you're giving a little bit more reassurance, right, into the marketplace, which is very, very useful. So I think for the user, you're also starting to create, yes, access, but you're also starting to create more trust within the financial infrastructure in those countries. And because, users will be a little bit more confident with the fact that, oh, actually, I feel a little bit more happy that somehow my money is backed by a central bank, and should anything go wrong, should we have another financial crisis, for example, there'll be less of the, where do I kind of source my money if the banks, for example, end up in difficulty. So there's that element of building a lot more trust within the financial markets, even for users as well. And then you're diversifying the market as well. But even for the middle layer, when you're looking at providers of some of these, financing products, I think even the providers that will probably be in the middle layer is also giving them opportunity to innovate. And I think that's really, really exciting. I think Richard touched up on this quite heavily, actually. It's an opportunity to actually create new innovations and to create new products as a result. And that's what DeFi really is starting to offer the marketplace, and it's very, very exciting.
Thank you. And now let's move to Jason.
Yeah, for me, I think it just start, and we definitely need a CBDC or any, like a government, as long as it is government recognized, currency, which can be used. I think it is actually from current situation. It doesn't matter, is this currency issued by centralized government, centralized party, is decentralized. I think all this, currency, centralized, decentralized, like regional, industry-based, asset-based, all this currency will coexist for a very long period of time. And because that's the currency, right? So actually that's the amazing of the technology. So as the technology bring down the cost of issuing the currency, and also bring down the cost of financial services, and there's a lot of things can be done, like in the traditional financial system cannot be done. For example, the simple example is this 24/7 services, right? Like since the day one of Bitcoin go online, and it never have a downtime, and I don't think any banking system can have that kind of performance. And also another example is this globalization still, with this, I traveling between US, China, US, and other countries. It's still not that convenient to do the payment, the banking system. It's still very regional, even the phone. And I think with this breakthrough technology and this all be solved, and also there will be a lot of innovation. Actually, this year, I still don't think we have enough innovation come out. It's still simply mimic what the old financial, not old, sorry, not old, the current, maybe in the future we call it old, but the current financial system they are doing, just kind of provide the similar service. But you do see there's already several example of innovation. That's the flashing loan, and basically they can complete a loan, a borrow, trading, leverage from many different parties within one block, within 15 seconds on Ethereum blockchain, right? This can never be happen in the current financial system because it's so complicated. You can never allow that happen within such short time. But that's just one example. And just remember, DeFi is very new and right now still focused on building the basic features what current financial system has. But just don't forget, as the speed of coding is much faster than the speed of human. So right now the IT system is still, human related driven managed system. And so the speed is much faster. That's why that will drive a lot of innovation in the financial world. Also, I believe in the future, all the financial institutions will be more technology driven. So just take a look of current even the portfolio company like a fund management company within the crypto world. They are very technology driven. So they understand how most of team if you all hear the framework, the ventures, most of them team they have a very big coding development team. So I think that's what I mean. We are going all to digital, right? So especially now the change came from the financial industry. So you will see the change. But I think I still believe it's just a start. And right now we don't have the DeFi industry already have some resource, but not enough. So we can still do the current basic financial work. But since the industry goes so fast and this industry all get a lot of resource, and you will see a lot of breakthrough, right? And this CBDC has to be part of that. Other than that, there's always other solutions. So that's what I'm thinking. Thanks, Xiaochen.
Yeah, thank you. And last but not least, Richard. And while you are answering that question, and also there's a question from Komba Kaponda. And what's China's official regulatory position on cryptocurrency or crypto like Bitcoin legal tender in China? And 30 seconds or 1 minute, yeah?
Okay. Well, today, you know what, when people talking about a DeFi, so the keyword of DeFi is decentralized. And today, when we talk about the finance of DeFi, is we only talk about a crypto. Nobody touch about the fiat, digitized fiat, which is a CBDC we're talking about today. Actually, it's only digitized fiat. It's CBDC. It's not crypto. First of all. Right? I guess you all agree that it's not every CBDC need to be based on blockchain. It's not necessary. It's option. You can using blockchain technology, you can using other technology to implement your CBDC. That's one thing. But I personally believe the CBDC, no matter which country, or for example, again, let's talk back to China. I believe China is going to using DCEP to issue or try to regulate and support some kind some kind of peer-to-peer financial product based on some kind of regulation and based on some kind of new protocol. The new protocol could be blockchain technology or some other technology, because blockchain itself is not that efficient, all right? Because it's one block, one block, one block. But again, I would like to use the example as a communication protocol. If you talk about today, 3G, 4G, 5G, you will see this thing is not centralized. It was organized by a World Forum, 3GPP, right? So well, my point is that the decentralized or say peer-to-peer financial product is going to support by some CBDC for sure, but it's not to be the same as the DeFi we're talking about today, because the DeFi we're talking about today, everybody face today is crypto only. And back to that question is that, okay, that Bitcoin lender stuff is not going to be protected by China's law today, for sure. It's not going to be protected by China's law.
Okay, so thank you very much. And I think this is a very interesting discussion, and where that's, from it says how that, yeah, DeFi definitely, and also both DeFi and CBDC can help to address the financial inclusion, and which is, definitely provide banking or financial service to those who are not banked or underbanked. And from Michelle, and it's clear that, from the liquidity perspective and also from the SME financing, and the CBDC and also DeFi also play a very important role. And from Jason, that it's clear that, DeFi is at its really infancy now, and the true potential has not been realized, but we already see what it can do, and potentially that's, this also shed light to CBDC, because, both have this peer-to-peer structure, which is very different from the traditional or current financial provision. And lastly, from Richard, and it's again, it's very clear that when you just talk about, blockchain is not the only infrastructure for CBDC, or of course. And later, when we have Tom, who is the CEO of eCurrency, talk about CBDC, and they launched the eCurrency project around 10 years ago, and but has nothing to do with blockchain. So there are different technology available, and this is just the beginning of something very exciting.